Hi there, Libra. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for August. This month is absolutely jam-packed with astral activity. Some of it's going to provide real opportunities, and there can be some challenges too. It's very complex, but it begins in an extraordinarily bright way for you when the Sun and your ruler Venus continue their journey through your sector of sociability, interaction with others in groups, and just basically using your natural diplomacy to build your network of influence. Now, it is true that there is a new moon which occurs on the 2nd. This new moon is particularly influential because it links with the planet of Saturn. Now, Saturn's been in the part of your scope that's very much to do with how you think and express yourself, and this is over a year now. But it has been retracing its steps over the last 5 months. In the middle of this month, it goes into forward motion, which is definitely a good thing. If you have been feeling your nervous energy has been low, particularly since the middle of May, it really wouldn't be a surprise. Not least because Saturn has been challenged by the rather dreamy energies of Neptune, which for you are in the part of your scope to do with work, health and obligation. So it's possible that there's been quite a lot of demands coming your way and you've been trying to juggle things. And I think this month, and certainly this new moon, encourages you therefore to step away from some of these and give yourself permission to have some downtime. But some of the conversations you have, or some of the things you think about your future direction, can be more serious, but they can be constructed in a way which is progressive, and the conversations you have can actually help you to feel reassured. When Mars arrives on the 3rd back into Sagittarius after a hiatus, this is going to supercharge your physical vitality, but also I think give you much greater desire to punch across your ideas to other people. And it's also going to just stiffen your resolve a little bit if you have felt rather compromised and things haven't been flowing quite as well as you would like. Now, Mars is going to be going alongside Saturn and therefore is going to be getting caught up in that right angle with Neptune. So it's important therefore to understand that not everybody is necessarily going to get where you're coming from or agree with some of your ideas, and some of your own thinking will need to be very, very focused and very well researched for you to get the receptive responses that you want, not least that your ruler moves on the 6th into a very sensitive part of your horoscope. If you're in a relationship, for example, which is bumping along the bottom and you're not really sure whether it's nurturing you and sustaining you in the way you would like, you could have quite a lot of second thoughts about it from the 6th onwards. Because from the 11th, Mercury, already in your 12th solar house, clashes itself with Neptune, and of course in turn with Saturn, and this can really bring up to the surface any hidden doubts or introspection that you may have been pushing to one side, not really wanting to look at. So although there's these bright and bubbly influences on the surface of things, underneath that I think you may be yearning for something to be right and more fulfilling at a deeper level. And then Venus goes into an opposition with Neptune, gets caught up with Saturn too. This can be particularly significant. If things haven't really been discussed in a relationship, all sorts of secrets could come into the open, but you need to be very clear about how you express them, and don't let your doubts become more a propagation of what you think is the reality. So if you're trying to talk something through, I think it's important to be factual, rather than perhaps suggesting that it's this and it's that. This will help you to deal with things in a more constructive way, I feel. Now, it is also true that there's a full moon in your sister air sign of Aquarius on the 18th. But I think this full moon can actually be very good for you because it also links up with Uranus in your opposite sign. And if you have been reluctantly or not wanting to really engage with something that you know is very, very delicate, this full moon is going to push you to put on your boxing gloves really and be more direct in the way that, say, the sign of Aries is sometimes. And I think something that you have really not been embracing quite as tightly as you could will need to be projected outwards, but then you can do it with a real passion, and I think you can find your voice. There is going to be, in week 3, a wonderful alliance of Venus, Mercury and Jupiter. And if you're a more spiritual Libran person, or you're interested in personal development or healing in all its many forms, this can be an enchanting time, and you may take some giant steps forwards in non-tangible and non-material ways. But I think there is a relationship issue, or a very sensitive issue, a personal issue, that may need teasing out into the open this month, however reluctant you are to do it. But I think Mars and that full moon can be the driving forces. Fortunately, your ruler Venus moves into your sign just right at the end of this month. And you know, if you do have a frank heart-to-heart, it can bring sunshine back into your situation, and you can feel much freer and much more ready to re-engage in the way you want. It's possible there could be a separation in a very weak relationship. I think it's much more likely that if you can talk things through in a constructive way, and you each see that maybe there are things that are difficult, that once they're looked at, I think that can recharge the relationship, it can start again. If that's not the case, the fact that Mercury goes into a retrograde as this month comes to a close, along with Venus arriving in your sign, suggests there may be more thinking, more heart searching, and more conversations to be had. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Libra. Thanks for joining me. Good luck, and goodbye for now.